Hello everyone and welcome back to Amy's tutorial on economics. I'm Amy and my goal is to make economics simple and enjoyable for everyone. Whether you're a student, a curious learner, or just someone interested in understanding how the world works, this channel is for you. Today we're diving into a fundamental concept that shapes markets and influences everyday decisions: supply. So grab your notebook and let's get started on this journey to understand supply in economics. Let's begin by defining supply. In economics, supply refers to the quantity of goods and services that producers are willing and able to offer for sale at different prices during a specific period. Simply put, supply is the amount of a product that sellers are prepared to bring to the market for consumers to buy. This concept is crucial because it helps us understand how products reach the market and how prices are determined. Understanding supply gives us insight into how businesses operate and respond to market changes. Make it even simpler, supply is just the amount of a product that sellers are ready to sell at different prices. Imagine a shop owner deciding how many items to put on the shelf based on what customers are willing to pay. If the price is right, more goods are supplied. If not, fewer goods make it to the market. This basic idea is at the heart of supply and helps us understand how sellers make decisions every day. Now let's explore an important principle: the law of supply. The law of supply states that as the price of a commodity increases, the quantity supplied also increases. Conversely, as the price decreases, the quantity supplied decreases, assuming all other factors remain constant. This law is fundamental because it explains why producers respond to price changes. When prices are high, sellers are motivated to supply more goods. When prices drop, they supply less. This relationship is key to understanding how markets function. Producers are generally motivated by profit. When prices are high, businesses and producers earn more money, so they are encouraged to produce and sell more goods. On the other hand, when prices fall, producers may reduce production because selling becomes less profitable. This motivation is a driving force behind supply decisions and helps explain why supply increases or decreases with price changes. Understanding this motivation helps us see the connection between market prices and the actions of producers. Let's look at a practical example to illustrate the law of supply. Imagine that a basket of tomatoes sells for $5,000 today. At this price, farmers may supply 50 baskets to the market. If the price rises to $8,000 per basket, farmers will likely increase production and supply perhaps 80 or even 100 baskets because they can make more profit. This example shows the direct relationship between price and quantity supplied, making the law of supply easy to understand in real-life situations. Supply isn't just influenced by price. There are several other important factors that can affect how much producers are willing to supply. These factors include the cost of production, technology, and government policies. Each of these can change the amount of goods producers bring to the market regardless of price. Understanding these factors helps us see the bigger picture of supply and why it can fluctuate even when prices stay the same. First factor is the cost of production. If the cost of raw materials, labor, transportation, or electricity increases, producers may supply fewer goods because production becomes more expensive. On the other hand, if costs decrease, supply can increase as it becomes easier and more profitable to produce goods. This factor is crucial for understanding why supply can change even if prices remain constant. Second factor is technology. Improved technology can help firms produce goods faster and more efficiently, which increases supply. The third factor is government policies. Policies such as taxes, subsidies, or regulations can either encourage or discourage production. For example, subsidies may boost supply, while strict regulations might limit it. These factors show how supply is shaped by more than just price, and why understanding them is important for anyone studying economics. Government policies play a crucial role in shaping the supply of goods and services in any market. For instance, when the government imposes high taxes, production costs for firms rise, making it less attractive for them to produce goods. This can lead to a decrease in overall supply. On the other hand, subsidies provided by the government act as incentives, encouraging firms to produce more by lowering their costs. These policy decisions can shift the supply curve and have a direct impact on the availability of products in the market. Understanding these effects helps us see how government actions influence economic outcomes. Number of producers in a market is another important factor affecting supply. When more firms enter an industry, the total supply of goods increases because there are more sources producing the same product. Conversely, if some firms decide to leave the market, the supply decreases as fewer producers remain. This dynamic can be seen in competitive industries where entry and exit are common. The overall supply is constantly changing based on how many businesses are active in the market, which in turn affects prices and availability for consumers. Producers often make decisions based on their expectations of future prices. If they anticipate that prices will rise in the near future, they may choose to store their products now and sell them later when prices are higher. This behavior temporarily reduces the current supply available in the market. On the other hand, if producers expect prices to fall, they might rush to sell their goods, increasing current supply. These expectations can lead to fluctuations in supply and impact market stability, making it important for both producers and consumers to pay attention to price forecasts. Natural factors such as weather conditions can significantly influence supply, especially in agriculture. For example, good rainfall can lead to a bumper crop, increasing the supply of agricultural products. However, adverse weather events like droughts or floods can severely reduce supply, causing shortages and higher prices. These unpredictable natural events highlight the vulnerability of supply to environmental conditions. Producers must adapt to these changes, and consumers often feel the effects through price fluctuations and availability of goods. Let's quickly review what we've covered so far. Supply refers to the quantity of goods and services that producers are willing and able to sell at different prices over a given period. Several factors influence supply, including government policies, the number of producers, future price expectations, and natural conditions. Each of these factors can shift the supply curve and affect market outcomes. By understanding these influences, we gain insight into how supply changes and how markets respond to different events. Law of supply is a fundamental concept in economics. It states that all else being equal, higher prices lead to a higher quantity supplied, while lower prices result in a lower quantity supplied. This relationship exists because producers are more willing to sell their goods when they can earn more profit. The law helps explain why supply curves typically slope upward, reflecting the positive connection between price and quantity supply. Understanding this principle is key to analyzing market behavior and predicting how producers will respond to price changes. There are several major factors that affect supply in any market. These include production costs, which determine how much it costs to make goods, technology, which can improve efficiency and increase supply, government policies such as taxes and subsidies, the number of producers in the market, future expectations of prices, and natural conditions like weather. Each factor can either increase or decrease supply depending on the situation. Recognizing these influences helps us understand the complexity of supply and how it interacts with demand to set prices. Understanding supply is essential for anyone interested in economics or business. Supply helps us see how markets operate and how prices are determined, especially when combined with demand. When supply changes, it can lead to price fluctuations, shortages, or surpluses. By studying supply, we gain valuable insights into market trends, producer behavior, and the overall functioning of the economy. This knowledge is useful for making informed decisions as a consumer, producer, or policymaker. We've reached the end of today's lesson on supply and its influencing factors. From government policies to natural conditions, each element plays a role in determining how much of a product is available in the market. By understanding these concepts, we can better appreciate how markets function and why prices change. Thank you for joining this session, and I hope you found the information useful. Stay tuned for more insights into economics in future lessons.